MP for Aguna West, MP for Subum, and Amenfi Central had vacated their seat was nullified. In essence, we are law-abiding. We have heard that our colleagues say they disagree with the Supreme Court. They'll be using unprintable words on the Supreme Court. On Sunday, the minority leader, my respected colleague, Dr. Forson, led the minority caucus in a press conference whereupon they told Ghanaians that today they will come and occupy our seats by their own proclamation. MPP, our tradition, is a law. Our forebearers always use
order. You must go to court to have the order set aside. In the case of Mr. Speaker, alright, I am reliably informed that his lawyers are currently trying to file processes to set aside the order of the Supreme Court. In that case, the status quo ante, in our view, should stay.
Okay, so the Speaker has communicated to you that...
No. There has been no official communication from Mr. Speaker's lawyers. But we, the majority caucus, the NDC majority caucus, have information to that effect. Of the Supreme Court, that order is a nullity. It has no constitutional basis because first, Mr. Speaker's ruling is not a quasi-judicial order, not a ruling of the Speaker of Parliament, which is merely a statement that guides Parliament in the conduct of his business. You cannot say it.
That the Supreme Court got it wrong.
The Supreme Court got it wrong, totally wrong. So the ruling of the Supreme Court has no legs to stand on. That's what I mean by a void order.
Thank you so very much for staying with us. You're watching GBC News. My name is Darola Lantego. This is a special broadcast coming to you from the Houses of Parliament, albeit currently at the Accra International Conference at the Grand Arena, where Parliament is sitting this afternoon. In the last few days, coming from last Thursday, this country has had to deal with a certain constitutional conundrum, and we're yet to find a headway. Some believe cool heads prevailing will eventually land us on a soft landing where all of, the fears, the anxiety, the apprehensions, the tensions that some call it mischief will be put to the side and would forge ahead. I am going to go on the phone and invite on to help us understand, especially the question of the constitutionality on the back of the separation of powers of the orders. Lawyer Anoche Frimpong, thank you very much for joining us. Welcome. Yeah, Lawyer Frimpong, you've been in this country since last Thursday. What's been your view so far, or your impression so far of what has transpired from last Thursday?
Well, for me, I believe that it's part of the growth of democracy with reference to what has happened in Parliament. And then, in the case of the Supreme Court, that is the judiciary, it's also part of the development of the law. Because you know that the law grows based on precedent. And when we talk about precedent, we are talking about judgments, orders, rulings, interpretations, all emanating from the superior court of judicature, at the apex of which is the Supreme Court. And so if in the constitutional development, we can have a situation whereby midway before the end of the parliamentary term, certain people could vacate their seat, triggering an action from the Speaker of Parliament, which is something that I believe is novel. Novel because we had a first parliament, the first Republican parliament. Nothing like that happened because under that constitution, anybody who wanted to change their mind on the floor of parliament could do so at any time by just walking from where he was seated to the other end and then raising the hand to notify the speaker that I have crossed packet. So please register me now as a member of this new party. Now that constitution died in 1966. The 1969 constitution frowned upon cross-carpeting, but its life was truncated in less than 3 years. In 1979 to the first, from 79 to 31st December 1981, by the grace of the Almighty God, this constitution has lasted for more than 30 years. As a result, we have had an opportunity of constitutional democracy growing to fruition. And once it grows, these are some of the things that we see. Now, in the case of the Supreme Court, whatever emanates from the House of Parliament will reverberate everywhere and end up at the Supreme Court to be settled. So what is happening there is not straight. The only reason why the two sides are battling it between themselves is simply because it's a novelty and it's now that it's happening. If the 1960 Constitution, and for that matter 69 or 79, had not broken down unceremoniously, we believe this thing could have happened earlier so that today it will be no news. So I am happy with the development. And then also, I'm happy with why the NDC is saying it is now the majority. It only shows that they are just humans working with a human institution. And what do I mean by that? Somebody yesterday being addressed as minority leader now wants to be addressed as a majority leader. Somebody being addressed as an ordinary MP now wants to be given a certain title. That shows their level of ego, and it shows they are only human. And one thing that you and I, as a result of the happenings, we have to know is that there is one person at the moment who can bring peace to the country before the Supreme Court gives its verdict. And that person is not the entity called NDC, but the person called Mr. Alban Babin. Why do I say that? It's very simple. The NDC caucus is saying that they would not respect what the Supreme Court has said. Indeed, I believe that in their heart, they know the Constitution haven't clothed the Supreme Court with law enforcement power. Which power Parliament hasn't got, the executive hasn't got. They know that well. But because of ego, when they make this statement, it does not end the matter. It only start the matter because they say that they are going to respect what Mr. Abambabe has said. If they give respect to Mr. Abambabe, then they are still operating within the law. Mr. Abambabe will have to notify them that as part of our own standing orders and procedures in Parliament, I am your head, and I would want to notify you to give respect to whatever the Supreme Court has said. And I believe when he makes this order, they would abide by that. Then there will be peace, and then there will be sanity in the House, and then the original minority leader will be a minority leader. The existing majority leader will continue to be a majority leader because of the indirect respect given to the self-execution. I say indirect because they're directly a senior lawyer himself and a very experienced politician to just give them the appropriate orders so that there will be sanity between now and when the Supreme Court will speak. Thank you.
Wouldn't the Speaker calling on them to change their position as it is, or as it were, amount to the Speaker then admitting inadvertently that perhaps he got it wrong?
No, I believe if I understood you very well and clearly. The Speaker, as of now, should not be any person seen to be bending towards the side of the NDC. The moment the Speaker does that, definitely you would know that it would amount to a disrespect of the Supreme Court order. And that would also amount to contempt of court as to whether it is possible to cite him for contempt. Be a new development in our law, and I believe it's better. It's better than a coup d'etat, it's better than the gun, it's better than anything violent. After at the end of the day, we are going to listen to 5 human beings make orders, and ultimately nobody will be able to flout it. What is happening is only egoistic. But back to your question, I believe that all of us, including senior citizens, behind the scenes, pastors, imams, whatever, should talk to just one person about Babel to ask the NPP to return to the House, and then the future would commend Mr. Abambabe for having been able to stand in the middle as a disinterested
Lawyer Frimpong, if you can hear me, bear with me a minute. Lawyer Frimpong,
whatever the Supreme Court
please
has
bear with me if you can hear me, Lawyer Frimpong. We're going to cross over to Parliament and join proceedings as it currently prevails. There seems to be a certain movement showing the entrance or the appearance of the Speaker. So let's quickly cross over to Parliament. Stay with us. You're watching GBC News. My name is Darola Lantego. This is a special broadcast from Parliament.
Fair as it might be, a country of righteousness, a country of brotherhood, where all success shall be founded on service and honor shall be given to the deserving. A country of peace, where government shall rest on the will of the people and the love for the common good. Bless the efforts of those who struggle to make this vision a living reality. Inspire and strengthen our people, that they may give time, thought, and sacrifice to speed the day of the coming beauty of Ghana and Africa. Amen. Honorable members, we will take item 3 on the order paper. Honorable members, National Pledge. Pursuant to Order 69, we shall proceed to recite the National Pledge. I promise on my honor to be faithful and honor my motherland. I pledge myself with all my might. Thank you so much. Please resume your seats. Honorable members, I want to vary the order of business and we will take next item 6. Item 6 on the order paper, which is correction of votes and proceedings and official report. We shall commence with the correction of the votes and proceedings of the 3rd sitting dated Thursday, 17th October 2024. Page 1. Page 2. Page 3. Page 4. Page 5. Page 6. Page 7. Page 9. Yes, honorable member.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, item number 5 on page 9. Mr. Speaker, the statement made by the Honorable Minority, the Honorable Atufosin, Mr. Speaker, was in respect of the fact that 4 members of Parliament whose names have been listed have breached Article 97(1)(g) and (h). It was not a mere allegation, Mr. Speaker. So the appearance of who were alleged to have been in breach, I believe that it does not reflect the true statement made by the member, because it was based on the statement that the Speaker proceeded to make, to give information that you gave to the House. The Speaker further, in indicating the names of the honorable members so named, their currency, for instance, the first name, Peter Yaokwachi Aka, the NDC member for Amenfi Central, and now an independent candidate. Mr. Speaker, so the statement contains these clear facts, and therefore it's important that they reflect in the proceedings as captured for purpose of correction. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, Honorable Member for Madina.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I also want to draw your attention to the ending statement, which is majority caucus in staged a walkout instead of a majority caucus in inverted commas. So if the correction can be made to reflect what was there. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Member Bolsa Saf. Is that okay? Yes, from the distance I can't see. Honorable Member for, you are all right? Thank you, thank you. Table office, kindly take note of the comments made by the members. Please cross-check from the records and capture what is on the record of the House. Please, page 10. Page 11. Honorable members, in the absence of any further corrections, the votes and proceedings of the third sitting, dated Thursday, 17th October 2024, are adopted as the true record of proceedings. Honorable members, I don't have a copy of any of the official reports. So we'll proceed now to item 5, formal communication by the Speaker. Honorable members, as you may recall, on Thursday, I informed the House, pursuant to Standing Order 18 of the Standing Orders of Parliament, on the occurrence of vacancies in the House in relation to 4 honorable members. Yesterday, I received a process from the Supreme Court, which is a ruling from the Supreme Court pursuant to an ex parte application directing Parliament to recognize and allow the 4 affected members of Parliament to duly represent their constituents and conduct full scope of duties of their offices as members of Parliament, pending the final determination of a suit filed by Honorable Alexander Afenyo-Markin. By Article 102 of the Constitution, 1992, and Order 64.1 of the Standing Orders of Parliament, I note that we currently have a quorum to transact business, but not to take decisions of the Constitution. It reads, a quorum of Parliament, apart from the person presiding, shall be 1/3 of all the members of Parliament. As presently constituted, the numbers definitely is far above 1/3 of the members of Parliament. But by Article 104, the numbers are not sufficient for us to take decisions. And I'll quote Article 104. Article 104(1) says, except as otherwise provided in this Constitution, matters in Parliament shall be determined by the votes of the majority of members present and voting, with at least half of all the members of Parliament present. Honorable members, we don't have at least half of all the members of Parliament present. Consequently, in view of the current circumstances, the fact that there is a question on the composition and constitution of Parliament, and having regard to the public interest and the exigencies of the state of affairs in Parliament, I will proceed to, in accordance with Standing Orders 59, adjourn the House indefinitely. That is sine die. I want to quote Standing Orders 59(1). Suspend a meeting of the House indefinitely or for a period determined by the Speaker, having regard to the public interest and the exigencies of the state of affairs in the country. Honorable members, I have consulted leadership and I am exercising my discretion to decide accordingly. Adjourned sine die.
Speaker of Parliament, Alban Baldwin, as you
Yes, so currently the Speaker has adjourned the meeting So if you're watching us, this is the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation's coverage of the sitting of Parliament for today, a historic day in the life of the 8th Parliament, where both caucuses maintained their assertion that they were in the majority of the chamber. The Speaker of Parliament came in not long ago and in the course of the proceedings made the House know that in the light of the ongoing wranglings, the House would have to adjourn sine die, as in the House would have to adjourn until further notice. This is in the light of Article this is in line with Article 103 and 104 of the Constitution.
Welcome back once again. Thank you very much for staying with us. You're still watching GBC News. My name is Darrell Alantego. This is a special broadcast from the House of Parliament, monitoring proceedings as they unfare. And currently, not too long ago, the Speaker of Parliament came into the chamber, called out for the both sides to join him so the business of the day could start. We monitored and realized there was only the one side of the House occupied, in which case the meaning will be that one house or one part of the House has walked out. Referring to Standing Order 59 of the House, the Speaker informed the House that although they form a quorum, they can't make or take any decisions. Going over from there, the Speaker then adjourned the House sine die, that is to say indefinitely or until further notice. What is the elections? We have been aware that there is a need for certain airlines to be laid by the Supreme Court itself, and until such a time when the matter is resolved and the House can reconvene. Let's go on the phone and speak to lawyer historian Anochi Frimpong and see if he could help us judge for ourselves where we currently are and its possible ramifications to us as a people. Thank you very much once again for joining us. Good afternoon, Dr. Anochi Frimpong. Sine die. What will that mean to parliamentary business?
Well, let me rather go back to remind the public that just before we left off, I assured sustain the peace of this country.
Right.
And he has indeed done that. And I think we would have to congratulate him. But my problem with him is that having made reference to the thing, having made reference to occurrences in the Supreme Court on Friday, which proceeded with the service processes on him just yesterday, emanating from the Supreme Court, to halt the House from whatever it intends doing. I believe that Mr. Fabian could have done the whole nation some good if he had specifically stated that the indefinite suspension of proceedings of Parliament emanates from the Supreme Court decision based on its order for stay of execution, so that at least it would manifestly show that he is giving giving respect to the third arm of government. But if you conclude not less than half
of the
House members of parliament can take decisions affecting it, and based on that, to adjourn indefinitely, and then you also make reference to the public interest. What is that public interest? What is that public interest? I believe that Mr. Babi should have specifically take reference to the Supreme Court, because that is where the power is coming from. It is the Supreme Court that is protecting that public interest he refers to. So that is my only worry with him as a very seasoned lawyer, as a very respectable statesman, and above all, about the most experienced legislator we have in the country at the moment. That's my only worry with him. But going forward, I believe that, based on what I said earlier, if the NDC says it doesn't give regard to what the Supreme Court says, continue to respect Mr. Babi. And I also know that Mr. Babi, in the public interest, would wait until the Supreme Court has spoken before he reconvenes Parliament. Please, this is what is going to happen between now and the next 2 or 3 weeks, when the Supreme Court would come out with this judgment. So I believe that there will be peace as usual.
Sure, that is pretty much what we all expect, that peace will prevail in this country. But let's look at some critical business of the House, which also stands adjourned indefinitely insofar as this directive by the Speaker is concerned. We have the Supreme Court itself expected to lay an LI as we go into elections 2024. Same applies to the Electoral Commission. And then the government will have to present a budget statement in a way will go into the first quarter of 2025. All these three currently left outstanding. How good does that look on us as a people?
It will not have much impact on us. It doesn't have any. The Supreme Court is working in the interest of the people.
Yes.
It is also very much cognizant of these developments you are mentioning.
Sure.
Various airlines to be placed before Parliament. Including matters relating to the Electoral Commission, even the dissolution of this very Parliament before the election, and then also the budget, which is very crucial. I think that the Supreme Court would give its verdict in less than 2 weeks, so that there will be business as usual for everybody in the country. If anything, I would have wished that the Honorable Haruna Iddrisu had kept silent over these matters, completely silent, in order not to attract the attention of the Speaker to the actions of the 4 members of Parliament who had left their parties, respective parties, in order to contest for the next election as independent candidates. If that had happened, in terms of